Today, we're going to have a discussion about buck breaking, because apparently there are some deputies who thinks that it's okay to try to buck break black men. That's where we are in 2023. Should I fix my camera there? That's where we are in 2023, where we got deputies, sheriff's deputies, who are trying to buck break black men. Yeah. Let's get into the story, man. Let's get into the story. This is a wild one. We're going to get into it, though. We're going to get into it. So, family, this story comes from Mississippi. In Rankin County, multiple deputies have been fired after two black men filed a lawsuit alleging torture and attempted SA in Mississippi. Now, they're saying that these sheriff's deputies, they tried to buck break them, essentially. The Rankin County Sheriff's Office in Mississippi has fired multiple sheriff's deputies after two black men filed a federal civil rights lawsuit alleging 6 white deputies entered their private residence illegally and tortured them for nearly 2 hours. Wow. Just wow. Wow. The terminations come roughly 2 weeks after Michael Jenkins and Eddie Parker filed a lawsuit alleging 6 deputies entered their Braxton home in January and handcuffed, kicked, waterboarded, and repeatedly used tasers on the men and attempted to SA them once. Wow. One deputy also put a gun in Jenkins' mouth and shot him, the lawsuit says. Wow. Wow. That is insane. Michael Jenkins and Malik Shabazz is their attorney, and Eddie Parker. So I can see these two black men here, and the sheriff's deputies allegedly tried to, wow. They tried to buck break these young men. You know, I heard about this story, but I was looking into it. This is disturbing. But the saddest part is it's not shocking. You know, you hear these stories over the years so many times, and it's not shocking. Apparently, according to the stories here, the deputies use allegedly vicious racial slurs, including the N-word and monkey, and accused them of dating white women. Wow. This is insane. This is insane. I mean, we're reaching all new levels with this stuff. We are reaching all new levels with this stuff, y'all. And I guarantee you, Blue Lives Matter and people who support police officers, they will still find a way to gaslight, lie, and defend the cops, no matter how it looks like the cops are monsters. It's just insane, man. It's insane at this point. It really is. Let's get into the next story. Let's get into the next story. Let's get into the next story. So, family, this story comes from Louisiana. We have a longtime Louisiana state trooper who was arrested for a hit-and-run DWI after striking a parked car. So we find out that, according to the Louisiana State Police, Sergeant Shelton Crooks was stopped by Monroe Police, and apparently, he was involved in a hit and run where he was driving while under the influence, and he decided to hit that vehicle that was parked and just drive off, because that's what a true law enforcement professional does. They leave the scene of a crime. And I tell you, Blue Lives Matter, I cover so many stories where police officers drink and drive, and for some reason, police officers and law enforcement officers and officers of the law don't seem to realize that when you drink and drive, you place the general public in danger. So, Blue Lives Matter, can you do me a favor? Can you tell your pigs to please quit drinking and driving? Please and thank you. Please and thank you, you know? Crooks works under Troop F, which covers 12 parishes, including... I don't want to even read out those parishes, but the troop was recently at the center of a state and federal investigations, including into Louisiana State Police as a whole after the May 2019 passing of Ronald Green, an unarmed black man who passed away in police custody. Now, I remember Ronald Green. It was Javier Escueta. I remember it was a police whistleblower who actually revealed that. Or was that Carl Cavalier? I want to see Carl Cavalier, Ronald Green. Carl Cavalier. Carl Cavalier was a black man who was a Louisiana State Patrol trooper who blew the whistle on what happened to Ronald Green. It wasn't Javier Escueta. Javier Escueta, that was Eric Lurie. See? And Carl Cavalier, he came forward and revealed what happened. This is a news report from February 2nd of 2022. You know, this is not being recorded. I recorded like the little video portion there, but this is just a little bit of extra stuff for the stream. You know, it was, Carl Cavalier was a Louisiana State trooper who was a black man. He revealed what happened to Ronald Green. And it was the police who took this man out. And they retaliated against Carl Cavalier and fired this man. He did nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong. Let's get into the next story here, because we want to keep this going, man. All right, guys. So next story here. It was the other guy, Judah House. Who is Judah House? How you doing, Judah House? Well, what do you mean by it happened to the other guy? I'm not sure what you mean, Mr. Judah House. But this next story is going to be interesting. Interesting. So let's get into the story here, guys. So, family, this story comes from Pennsylvania. We have a former police officer whose name is Patrick Huron, and we have an update to the case because we was arrested for alleged predatory behavior and SA charges. Well, now he's facing new charges. Patrick Huron has been charged with more than 200 new counts stemming from alleged crimes from 2005 until 2017. This guy is a serial predator, allegedly, right? So apparently this guy was involved in crimes once again from 2005 until 2017, and the DA's office filed 19 new criminal charges against Huron for a total of 21 cases involving alleged SA abuse and also assault of young girls and women and threats made against witnesses. This guy apparently went around SAing multiple people who were under the age of 18 and also grown women, you know. But when he was accused of these crimes, this guy apparently started threatening the witnesses when they were coming forward. So now you see why witnesses don't come forward, because the law enforcement officers who are supposed to protect them not only does not do that, but when they do come forward, they then threaten them. Wow, Blue Lives Matter. Is this your man's? You said that all cops are heroes. Well, is he a hero too? Just curious. Just curious. You know? Just curious. Just curious, man. Because, you know, I've already covered this case once, but I wanted to give an update because the update is that he's facing more than 200 new counts. You know, these are the stories that Blue Lives Matter don't want to tell you about, right? These are the stories that Blue Lives Matter don't want to tell you about. You know? You know? You can't really blame them. You can't really blame them, but I'm going to cover them. I'm going to cover them. Let's get into this story, man. So, family, this story comes from New York. We have a police chief and sergeant who has been arrested. 2 members of the Lowville Police Department, including the police chief there, have been arrested following an investigation. We find out that the state police there in New York have arrested Chief Randy Ralji with misdemeanor count of official misconduct, and they also charged Sergeant Philip Turk with a felony count of falsifying business records, 1 misdemeanor count of official misconduct, and 3 counts of misdemeanor petty larceny. Right. So they say that the police chief and the sergeant here, they were processed and issued tickets to appear in the court. Now, you may be wondering why, right? You may be wondering why. Well, the thing is, these 2, they were falsifying timesheets, trying to get some extra money and some extra hours that they certainly did not deserve. So as you might imagine, that's a big no-no. And so they are now facing some prison time. Wow, Blue Lives Matter. I gotta ask you, are these your men's? You keep telling me about this rise in crime, right? Blue Lives Matter. Well, I agree. But when it's the police chief and the police sergeant, well, you gotta say Blue Lives Matter. It just looks a little bit awkward at this point, right? I'm just saying, man. I just find that when I do stories like these and I cover stories like this, I find it interesting how Blue Lives Matter can mention how they somehow keep people safe, which they never do. And they'll mention these individual cases of heroism, right? But you never hear them mention stories like this. Why is that? Why do you think that is? Why do you think Blue Lives Matter goes out of their way to never mention stories like these? It's almost as if they want to, conceal the true nature of law enforcement. Because when it comes to cops, it's not like there's any misunderstanding in who they are, right? There's not any misunderstanding in who they are. They know who they are. Most cops who work with other cops, they know that most cops are criminals. They know. Channels like me, like mine, aren't even needed if cops are actually honest. So why do you think you never hear about stories like these from cops? Ask yourself that question. Ask yourself that question. Ask yourself that question. You never hear these stories though, right? You never hear these stories. Let's get into the next one, man. Let's get into the next one. Oh boy. So family, this story comes from Georgia. We have an angry piggy here. Michael Redicop, a Warrenton police officer, grabs his wife's arm during an altercation, right? And it says that his wife had Redicop's phone to upload some information. That's when she saw he had been texting someone named Jesse. So apparently his wife had found out that Redicop here, Redicop, he's a bit of a cheater. The two began to argue, and Redicop, he assaulted his wife to try to get his cell phone back, allegedly. And apparently, he's been charged with simple battery. Now, grabbing your wife or assaulting your wife after she catches you cheating, allegedly, that's a big no-no. But assaulting your spouse is not something that is unusual for the wild pig. Let's hope that he goes to jail and for a long time. Right? So stories like these are not unusual. I gotta say, if you think that stories like these are unusual, you really haven't been to my channel very, very often. Cops do this stuff all the time. There are stats out there that shows that when it comes to the average police officer, it looks like it's kind of true. Sorry to any former cops out there. I got to call a spade, man. Just got to call a spade, you know? Let's get into this story. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, dear. But let's see what we got here. Retired Gandorf says 1340 says retired Connecticut State Police to stop this behavior, take away their pension. Jupiter in Taurus says ACAB, you need to listen to me. It's super important. And last night they told me to unalive my daughter, which is half black. Wow, what are you talking about there? Yeah, I'm very curious. Law enforcement has a program where they can send you thoughts. Jupiter, I don't think you're being serious, Jupiter. I don't think you're being serious, Jupiter. And I don't like that kind of trolling. Don't do that. Don't do that, Jupiter. Don't do that. That's not cool. And I can't help but notice that when I remove one of you, two of you leave. See, that lets me know that you are not serious and you're watching from multiple accounts. So don't do that, Jupiter, please. Thank you. Thank you. But let's get into this story here. We're not going to let the peanut gallery slow us down. Excuse me. So, family, this story comes from Georgia. We have a longtime Georgia sheriff's deputy who has been arrested because he's an alleged predator. Christopher Masters allegedly had an inappropriate relationship with someone who's under the age of 18. Wow, Blue Lives Matter. Is this your man's? You said it all, cops are heroes. Well, here's a picture of your boy, Christopher Masters, pictured right here in the center right here. You know, this hero police officer. And Masters, he began working for the sheriff's office back in 2007 and was assigned to the courthouse at the Augusta Judicial Center. He resigned in lieu of termination. Because once again, pigs who are heroes, they are known to be predators, apparently. And he resigned because he didn't want to be fired. Because he thinks that he can still get off on these charges. Man, oh man, Blue Lives Matter. I got to ask you one more time. Is this your man's? Is this your man's Blue Lives Matter? Man, I tell you, it's almost as if there's a pattern with these cops doing stuff like this, huh? Almost like there's a pattern, right? Almost like there's a pattern that you can clearly follow. Almost like there's a pattern. But let's get into this one here. So, family, this story comes from Tennessee. We have a former sheriff's deputy who has been indicted on 3 counts after fraudulent car sale. Oh, man. We got a used car salesman / piggy. Man, oh, man, Blue Lives Matter. Man, oh, man, Blue Lives Matter. I gotta ask you, is Jacob Gardner your man's Blue Lives Matter? The former Tipton County Sheriff's Deputy, Jacob Gardner, who allegedly has 3 fraudulent car sales. And it's related to a sale of a 2010 Lincoln MKZ. Man, oh man, the sheriff's office uses the site to sell seized assets that have been awarded to the Tipton County Sheriff's Office, as well as surplus of or obsolete assets from the sheriff's office. And apparently Jacobs works as the Tipton County Sheriff's Office evidence custodian and had access to the sheriff's office govdeals.com administrative account to possess and also post assets for sale online. And so apparently Jacobs attempted to sell the Lincoln MKZ on the site for his personal benefit. Man, oh man. So he was trying to sell a car that the police just stole, right? Right? And once again, Blue Lives Matter, I gotta ask you, is this your man's? Is this your man's? Homie was selling stuff on the law enforcement website. Oh, Lord. So, pigs takes things through civil forfeitures, and then pigs turn around and sell more things with civil forfeitures, but just with extra steps. Oh, man. You know, serves him right, though. Serves him right. Serves him right. And once again, we have a more person from the peanut gallery here trying to mess up our stream, man. You see, I don't like that kind of stuff. Talking about law enforcement can send you thoughts to your head. Whatever, man. Whatever, man. We've already covered that case right there. All right. Let's get into this one, though. All right. So, family, this story comes from Colorado. We have a former police officer whose name is Eric Hernandez, who faces second-degree murder charges in connection to a shooting, a fatal shooting that happened in May of this year. Apparently, allegedly, Eric Hernandez was indicted by a grand jury because he allegedly fatally shot Justin Reffel back on May 3rd of this year. And apparently, this is just a rumor, this guy had only been on the job for 3 days when he shot someone. And that person is no longer with us. Man, oh man, Blue Lives Matter. Is this your man's? You said that all cops are heroes, but man, cops can't even be on the job for more than 3 days without becoming the average pig. And now someone is gone because of the negligence and the murderous actions of Blue Lives Matter. Wow. Crazy, isn't it? Crazy, isn't it, man? Crazy. Hernandez and another LaSalle police officer, Sam Johnson, saw a Dodge Magnum they believe looked suspicious parked outside a Family Dollar. And the car had recently had been recently painted white and had an obscure vehicle identification number and a faked out out of state license plate number. LaSalle is a small town just south of Greeley. The two officers parked their patrol vehicle to block in the car and went into the store to try to find the car's driver and learn none of his employees drove the car. Reffel was in the store with two others, according to the indictment, and ran toward the front. When he saw the officers, he got into the white Dodge Magnum and backed up several feet, despite Hernandez shouting for him to get out. According to the indictment, Reffel then began driving out of the parking lot. Hernandez fired 4 shots from his 9mm handgun. The indictment says Reffel managed to drive away before he hit another car on Church Street. He was pronounced dead. Wow, at the hospital. Wow. 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 Well, someone is gone because of an action of a pig, man. Once again, it never fails, huh? It just never fails. It just never fails. Oh boy, let's get into this story. So family, this story comes from Ohio. We have a former Thompson Township police chief who is facing some criminal charges because he allegedly impersonated a police officer. This former police chief is named Chris DiDomenico. And he was indicted by a grand jury on several charges, including abduction and impersonating a peace officer. Wow. So it relates to a domestic violence arrest that occurred on March the 4th. And apparently, DiDomenico had no authority to make that arrest. And DiDomenico was working as a police chief or an officer in a township in Ohio. He needs to have a current law enforcement commission. And DiDomenico has not been commissioned to work as an officer since 2008. Right? And apparently, this guy was impersonating an officer of the law and trying to arrest someone in connection to a domestic violence incident, even though he never had the authority to even do so. Man, oh man, Blue Lives Matter. Is this your man's? You said that all cops are heroes. I don't know if you can keep saying that when you keep getting cops getting arrested for little dumb stuff like this, man. But I love it, though. What's going on, D-Clack? What's going on, man? What's going on? How's everybody doing? Welcome to the stream. I don't want to keep you long, but we're going to make sure we cover some of these cases because I know I've been kind of lacking on content. But we're going to make sure that we cover some new cases for you. So, family, this story comes from Delaware. We have a former Wilmington police officer whose name is Samuel Waters, who has been found guilty and also convicted in an excessive force case. Samuel Waters was found guilty of felony tampering with public records in the first degree, falsifying business records, assault in the third degree, and official misconduct by a Newcastle County jury. And there was an excessive force incident that happened back in September of 2021. Man, he assaulted someone and tried to fake the incident and also cover it up, man. He faces up to a total of 13 years in prison. And that was when he was actually indicted. He now faces up to 8 years in prison, and that's the max he's going to face. You know, I cover stories like this so often, but, you know, I gotta say, now that you're getting officers who are being indicted more and more often, it's very interesting how the public persona and the public perception towards police officers is also changing. I've noticed that too. I've noticed that the people, right? I noticed that people are starting to try to do anything possible to confuse people, to try to deflect from police officers. But the fact is, when it comes to law enforcement officers like Samuel Waters here from the Wilmington Police Department, when you get officers who have been convicted in excessive force cases, the same officers who have been found guilty of tampering with public records in the first degree, falsifying business records, assault in the third degree, and official misconduct, you know, assaulting people and then lying about it, covering up. The general public is now aware of this stuff. It's not just Delaware, but other states. The general public is aware of what police officers do now. They know officers, so-called officers of the law, they know that officers are not to be trusted because police officers do stuff like this all the time and have done stuff like this all the time. It's just that we're now hearing about it and we now have proof of it now. See? That's the only thing. We just now have proof of it now. Right? Right? So, this here is very fascinating. This here is very fascinating. This here is fascinating. Right? Let's get into it. So, family, this story comes from Colorado. We have a police chief who says that she was misled about the hiring of a former police officer whose name is Nathan Gerdes, who's a predator. And this guy was hired despite the fact that he was lying on applications to multiple police departments after he resigned from the Edgewater Police Department because he was seen as a predator who preyed on women. Wow, Blue Lives Matter. Is this your man's? You say that all cops are heroes. Well, Nathan Gerdes was indicted on 5 counts of essaying someone and retaliating against witnesses. So Blue Lives Matter, you say that all cops are heroes. Well, I don't know. Nathan Gerdes here, the guy whose face is not blurred out there. I gotta say, Blue Lives Matter, it doesn't look like all cops are heroes. It looks like all cops are predators. Just like I said. You know? She claims to have been that someone misled her about this guy. Stop it. I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe that for a second. Not for a second do I believe that. I believe she knew exactly who this guy was. But like most cops, she's probably a predator too. Let's just call it. Let's just keep it a buck, man. Let's keep it a buck. Right? Let's get into this story, man. Let's get into this story here, man. Wow. So family, this story comes from Texas. We have a school resource officer whose name is Esteban Solis, who apparently is a predator because he is accused and he has been arrested because he allegedly sent some highly inappropriate messages to 3 middle school girls. Wow, Blue Lives Matter, is this your man's? This man has been charged with solicitation of a minor and also tampering with physical evidence. You know, Blue Lives Matter, you say that all cops are heroes. I don't know if this is what you would call a hero, Blue Lives Matter. I'm just saying, man. You know, I cover so many stories like this where you have police officers who apparently are predators. And like someone says that they're not that person wasn't a drag queen. I gotta say, I mean, the drag queens don't look like it's the freaking drag queens. It look like it's the freaking Catholic priests, the Boy Scout leaders, and the freaking police officers, and the politicians, and the freaking judges. It looks like it's them folks. You know, I'm just saying, man. It don't look like it's the drag queens. And would you look at that? Another person who's not a drag queen. Another person who's not a drag queen. Isn't that fascinating? Another person who's not a drag queen. Let's get into this one here. So family, we have a person who is not a drag queen. We have a former Proud Boy who's an all-star of the Proud Boys in Florida who has been exposed as a predator. Apparently, Joseph Charles Galinsky was added to the Florida State Registry on June the 7th because Galinsky apparently is a predator. And apparently there's a long line of Proud Boys who just love people who are under the age of 18 apparently. So I gotta ask the Proud Boys, why is it that so many of you can't be trusted around children. You know, you keep telling me about how it's the drag queens. I just gotta say, Proud Boys, it don't look like it's the drag queens. It's looking like it's a you. Just saying. Man, oh man. Yikes. That is some yikes sauce. That is some yikes sauce, huh? You know? Let's actually look into this, man. Former Proud Boy All-Star on Florida Registry for SA charges, man. Another day, another Proud Boy in trouble with the law for SA against a child. Another one. Wait a minute. Ooh. Oh. See, there's a bit of a history there, huh? Bit of a history there, right? They called him Oak Man. The Oak Man because he's 6.5 feet tall. The victim was under the age of 16. Wow. Galinsky was convicted of lewd and lascivious exhibition and victim under the age of 16, offender 18 or older in Westland, Michigan last year. He was initially charged with 4 counts of second-degree SA with a person under 13. Wow. Under 13. Under 13, bro. Wow. Galinsky was a Marine in an earlier life. Photos from showed him at a Toys for Tots event in a dress uniform. He was a Marine. Wow. Wow. Yikes. Yeah, the Proud Boys, they got some predators amongst them, man. The Proud Boys have some predators amongst them, man. That's some scary stuff, yo. Yo, that's some scary stuff, yo. Like they've got a really, really. Yeah, the FBI's got to check into that, man, because that's crazy. The FBI's got to check into that, yo, because that's crazy to me. Yeah, that's crazy to me, man. That's nuts. That's nuts, man. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the show today, guys. Until next time, guys, horns up, peace out, good night, and good luck.